Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is to try to get 201 trades, each for an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, we're going to be looking at MMTLP and the focus is going to be on blue sheets. It's also going to be looking at level 2 data, and we're also going to be looking at ticker symbol TOP, which did exceptionally well in the previous week. So stay tuned for that. Before we get started, let's have a quick look at what's happening in the market. So headline here from Bloomberg: the Fed confront history of mistakes as hiking cycle nears end. So a little bit of a positive indication here that we may be at the peak of interest rate hikes. However, not necessarily at the end, but certainly we will get an announcement here. Powell is going to announce rate increases in the next week, maybe even not announce rate increases. It could be something that we could see something unexpected, but again, we certainly must be near the peak. The other headline here from Yahoo Finance is experts are now saying curbing the big techs Powell may be harder after Meta prevails in antitrust case. So probably you could say bad news for competition in the market, but good news for the key tech stocks, especially for Meta. Also good news for Apple as well. So let's see what happens this week for many of these stocks. Let's start by having a look at the blue sheet data, and I'd like to start by giving a shout out here to the Glass Guy, who's posted with regard to MMTLP info and source provided by ChatGPT. However, ChatGPT gave a link of an article from the Wall Street Journal, but that article and that link is no longer valid. So we do have a query with regard to the validity of this quotation from James Angel. But before we look at the quotation and the validity of it, let's have a look at the quotation itself. And James Angel in 2013 allegedly, first of all, has stated here in the Wall Street Journal article, making sense of blue sheet data, and he states here, request a financial equivalent of DNA samples. When used properly, they can be a powerful tool for detecting and deterring insider trading, market manipulation and other forms of securities fraud. But like DNA samples, they must be handled with care to ensure their accuracy and reliability. So remember, the article and quotation could not initially be validated by the Glass Guy in the tweet. However, digging a little bit deeper here, we can see that James Angel has written an article, and the article here is Fairness in Financial Markets, the Case of High Frequency Trading. So the Wall Street Journal quoted this in 2013. However, the original article we can see here was written December the 21st, 2010. So we can confirm that ChatGPT has seemed to be obviously sourced that accurately in terms of a quote from James Angel. But let's now move on to have a look at what are the blue sheets and why, as an MMTLP community, we are interested in them and looking for them to be obviously released and made publicly available. So if we look at Investopedia here, first of all, these are formal requests for information sent out by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, to the market makers, broker-dealers, clearing houses, etc. So the key takeaways here, obviously they're looking at requests for transactions, information by the SEC from financial institutions or trading firms. So all the broker dealers, information is meant to improve the transparency of banking and trading activities and to investigate irregularities. So this is exactly why we want to see the blue sheets. We want to see if there were any trading irregularities, were there any obviously issues with regard to transparency. Companies, individuals may be fined if they do not provide accurate information. So this has to happen. Blue sheets are now requested and filed only digitally. Obviously, back in the day, we could say that there would have been paper copies, but right now, let's continue to have a look at what would happen if there was a failure to comply. Obviously, we're looking at consequences. Firms may face obviously fines if they don't submit the data or they don't submit the data upon request. then obviously the fine will be from the SEC. Size and scope of the penalties can vary depending on the violation. So what I'd now like to do is have a look at some examples of fines and obviously breaches of failing to comply with blue sheet requests. So from a quick search of press releases from the SEC, we can see first of all, SG Americas were ordered to pay $3.1 million to settle charges of providing deficient blue sheet data. So that's one example of a fine. Another example of a fine here is the Citigroup provided incomplete blue sheet data for 15 years. Now for me, that is quite staggering, and that is something that is obviously a strong indication of what may be happening in the market. But I think what is, from my point of view, much more worrying is that Citigroup Global Markets has agreed to pay $7 million penalty. Now I think that is the joke of the century. What I'd now like to do is have a look at a very interesting post from Horace the Bull, and this is with regard to level 2 data for MMTLP. So on the post here we can see when the price was around about $2.90. Again, huge significant number of buys, and I think I can only see 3 red indications of people selling. But let's have a look at the post. It states here, I watched it but I didn't record it. I never thought it would be halted. I was the first person to post the 505 trades, N meaning if I would have known we would have been in this predicament, I would have recorded it. But I believe a recording has now been made available, so let's go and have a look at this recording. But I think what's interesting before we have a look at the recording, this is when the price was around about $9.40. So if we have a look at this here, I'll share you the recording shared by the tweet, and we go down here, we can see again significant amount of buying even going on at $9.30, $9.50, $9.40. So again, significant amount of buying, however very few and very little examples of selling. So again, in my opinion, very strong indications here that obviously there was certainly manipulation in the market, and if anybody else out there in the community has more examples of screen recordings or video recordings of this level 2 data and transactions, and as we can see here, almost hardly anybody was selling. And at the bottom we can see $9.30 in the transactions. At the top again we can see going up to $9.49. I think there has just been a sale there for 100 shares, but at the top right hand side we can see somebody purchased 14,414 shares at $9.49. Let's now have a look at ticker symbol TOP, also known as Top Financial Group Limited, and we can see in the latest news here, Friday, April the 28th, 2023, the company have just issued a statement regarding market activity. So this is a stock that was previously featured in the previous video. It's also something that we covered in our daily stock alerts, but with regard to the news, before we look at the charts, let's have a look at what's been stated by the company. So first of all, they have issued a statement, so we'll look at the statement, and it states here, while it's in the company's practice not to comment on any stock movement, we believe that it's important to note that we caution investors and all other persons to rely solely on statements and filings with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission issued by the company itself or its authorized representative. So basically the company are not actually saying anything about what's going on behind the scenes in terms of the share price. We're going to have a look at the share price shortly, but it also goes on to say the company does not intend to make further statements regarding this matter. In terms of the company, about Top Financial Group, this was initially founded in Hong Kong. The company, through its operating subsidiaries, operates online brokerage platforms, specializes in trading of local and foreign equities, futures and options products. And now I'd like to give a shout out here to Unusual Whales, and with regard to what's happening with ticker symbol TOP, what they said is, remember random Chinese stocks rallying incredibly. We saw this previously with HKD, but it's saying here a Chinese stock called TOP traded at $6 this morning. It is now at $230 and up in excess of 1,000% in the after hours. So again, another shout out here to the Discord Stock Alerts channel, where we looked at Top, also other China meme stocks which I think were really moving, including MEGL and also HKD. Let's now finish off by having a look at the chart. So first of all, this is the Google chart for the previous 5 days for tick symbol HKD, and this one actually shows you the percentage increase. We can see here it did come down to around about $108.21, but that still represents an increase over the previous 5 days of 1,648%. However, we can also see it at one point it did reach a price of $256.44. So remember, this was trading around about the $6 mark. So staggering return. So let's have a look at the trading view chart here. And again, we can see momentum was starting to build around just after Wednesday, the 26th of April 2023, with some unusual volume, but the price did not spike until around about the 28th of April 2023, when it went from around about just below $20 to in excess of $60. And then after a little bit of consolidation, we can see it's gone up quite significantly to well in excess of $220, and we know at one point it reached a price of $256. So again, a high risk, high reward stock. Certainly want to take profits off. And finally, I'd like to finish off by giving a quick shout out to our watch list, where we call out weekly stocks as well as daily stocks. So this week we called out MULN. That was up in excess of 13.3% on the Friday. There was some great news with Mullen Automotive, but again, it is a stock that is being heavily shorted and attacked. NLST, that did break the $6 mark, so a great chance there to take profits before it did come down. AZYO, that was up 13% on the week. TGTX up 12.2% on the week. ONTX, that was up 11.7% on the week. PRST up 11.4% on the week. XSII, that was up 3% on the week, so another good call from the Discord. BWN, that was up 8% Thursday to Friday, but was down 2.9% of the week, so not all calls are successful. AQST, again, that's one that we have been watching. It has been making some excellent gains recently, and it was up 5.5% on the Friday, 16.5% on the Wednesday to Friday, before closing down 4.2% on the week. Wish was another one that there was a significant sell-off, and that was down 14.7% on the week. So not all calls are successful. If you'd like to get the next weekly watch list, you can certainly join us. Details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.